All right. Hello, everyone. Good evening. My name's Nicole, and welcome back to our English class. I hope you had a chance to take a short break for the weekend. Now, as you can see on the screen, we are continuing with our English for Travel series. We have already covered some important topics under which to help you navigate your journey, such as airport vocabulary, hotel check in, using public transport, ordering food and drinks. Today, as highlighted in red, our focus is on a very important topic: emergencies while traveling vocabulary. While we all hope our trips are smooth and uneventful as much as possible, it's always wise to be prepared for unexpected situations, right? Now, over the next part of our lesson, we will be learning some key English vocabulary and phrases that could be crucial if you encounter an emergency while you are traveling. They will help you communicate effectively and seek assistance if needed. Now, it's important to remember that these situations are hopefully rare or none at all, but being prepared can make a big difference in how you handle them. So let's pay close attention and learn how to express ourselves clearly in case of an emergency. All right, let's get started. Well, let's start with this. Let's start by asking, why do we learn this? Well, first, it can save time as well as it can save lives. In an emergency, every second counts. Mispronouncing key words could lead to confusion and delays in getting, the help you needed. So imagine trying to explain fire, but it sounds like tire. Like the response could be drastically different and potentially dangerous. So yes. Next is ensuring understanding. When you are in a foreign country, the local emergency responders might not be familiar with your accent or your slang. Using clear and correct pronunciation increases the chances they will understand your situation accurately and quickly. Reducing stress. Now, being able to communicate effectively in an emergency can significantly reduce, stress and anxiety for both you and the people trying to help you, because knowing you can clearly articulate your different needs can be empowering in a frightening situation, right? Next is getting the right kind of help. We also learn so that we can get the right kind of help. Different emergencies require different responses. We all know that. We understand that. So clearly pronouncing words like police, ambulance, hospital, or specific types of injuries or illnesses ensures the appropriate help is dispatched or is given. And lastly, we learn this so as to protect ourselves and others. In some cases, your ability to communicate clearly could not only save yourself but also help others around you who might be in danger. Well, the bottom line is, even in English, clear and correct pronunciation of emergency related words removes any room for error or delay. It ensures that when you need help, you get the right help fast. Make sense? Well, while we hope we never have to use these vocabulary in a real emergency, learning to pronounce it correctly is a crucial safety measure when traveling. It's about being prepared and ensuring you can effectively communicate when it matters the most. All right? Okay. All right. Let's immediately start. We're moving on to the first set of vocabulary. So let's start with the first section, which is on medical emergencies. Now, I'm sorry for that, which is on medical emergencies, as I've mentioned. Now, when you're traveling, being prepared for unexpected health issues or accidents is just as good. Um, it's just a good preventive measure. Knowing the right English words and how to pronounce them can make a crucial difference in getting help quickly and effectively if a medical emergency arises. In this section, we'll cover some key terms related to medical emergencies. We will learn what they mean and, most importantly, how to pronounce them clearly so that you can communicate effectively in a stressful situation. Remember to listen carefully to the pronunciation and then we'll practice saying these words together in the chat. Let's get started with the first term. Of course, emergency. Again, emergency. One more time. Emergency. Now, this word signals a situation that is serious, unexpected, and requires immediate attention. So, it could be a sudden illness, a severe injury, or any event that, poses an immediate threat to someone's health or someone's safety. You might hear announcements like, in case of emergency, please use the nearest exit. Or if you witness an accident, you might shout, it's an emergency, someone needs help. Something like that. So, emergency, sudden serious situation, basically. Now, here, remember to stress pronunciation wise, remember to stress that second syllable, mer. So, that's where the syllable stress will be happening. So, emergency, emergency. You make it the loudest part of the word because it is stressed, it is emphasized. Emergency, emergency, emergency. One more time, emergency. Are we clear on that? I think we are all very familiar with this word, right? Any questions so far? Any challenges that you might want me to address? Emergency. Let me hear you say this word. I'm gonna ask you to type the word in the chatbot that is provided so that I can see that you are following with where I am right now. Please type emergency. Okay. Emergency. So there's four distinct sounds here. First is E, short E sound. Mer, mer, emer. So there's a relaxed sound in the middle. Mer, like bed, mer. Emergen, gen. So there's a schwa sound there. A schwa sound is a short, quick sound. Mergen, and that this. I'm gonna highlight this one for you. That's the schwa sound. That one, that upside down E, that's a schwa sound. So emergency, C. There's a short E sound there too. Now again, remember the emphasis is on the second syllable mer. So emergency. All right. Next we have doctor. Doctor. Again, doctor. One more time. Doctor. This is a trained and licensed medical professional who can examine you, who can diagnose your condition, and who can provide proper treatment. So if you or someone you are with feels seriously unwell, you would need to see a doctor, of course. You might ask at your hotel, can you recommend a good doctor? Or if you are feeling very ill, you might say, I need to see a doctor immediately. So make sure that you remember that doctor is a medical professional, licensed medical professional. Okay? Pronunciation wise, here in the pronunciation tip, make sure you pronounce that letter K sound there very clearly. Okay? Like doctor. Doctor. It's in the middle of the word. Doctor. Doctor. So here you avoid a softer or dropped sound like daughter. Daughter. So doctor. Doctor. One more time. Doctor. Okay, type this word again in the chat bot. While you're typing, let's immediately have the next one. There's allergy. Allergy. Again, allergy. There's three distinct sounds here. So before that, Let's define what allergy is. I think you're familiar, but let's define it. Now, this is a specific sensitivity that your body has to certain substances or food, like, particular foods. Like, usually, I've noticed some allergies are caused by peanuts, shellfish, and other things, but those are like the common ones. So, I think there's also on medications, which is unfortunately there's some medications, some people who are allergic to some medications or even insect stings, right? Well, allergic reactions can range from mild to life-threatening. It is crucial to communicate any allergies you have, especially when ordering food or receiving medical care. So you might say, I have a severe allergy to nuts. Please make sure my food doesn't contain any. So you do that. You say that to the one serving your food before you actually try to, before you try to eat something from them. Okay? So this is basically a reaction to food or medicine. It's allergies. Now, pronunciation wise, you emphasize the first syllable, al. Again, al. So, allergies. Again, allergies. You say it like that. Allergies. One more time, allergies. Okay? You also use the J sound there and the last part. That one. Yeah. That's a J sound, letter J sound, and then there's a short E sound at the ending. So allergy. Again, allergy. One more time, allergy. All right. Our fourth term here is ambulance. 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 Now, this is a specially equipped vehicle used to transport sick or injured people to a hospital quickly and safely. So, in a serious medical emergency, calling for an ambulance is often the first step because, again, this is the emergency vehicle. Now, breaking the word down into three parts can help with pronunciation because there's three distinct sounds here. Ambulance. Again, ambulance. So you break it into three parts and make sure that the stressed syllable here is on the first part, which is am. So you say it like this. Ambulance. Again, ambulance. There's a schwa sound on the second and third, how do you call it? Second and third syllables. So make sure that you take note of that. Ambulance. Okay? One more time. Ambulance. Again, ambulance. I'm sorry for that. Oh no. Oh no. Where am I? I'm sorry. There's just, malfunction. All right. I think we're all good. Thank you for your understanding. Oh no. But yeah, going back to ambulance. Ambulance again, you emphasize on the first syllable ambulance. There's a schwa sound in the second and third part. Basically, what we mean with this is that there's a short and quick sound there. So ambulance, ambulance. There's a short, quick vowel sound there. Ambulance. Finally, we have hospital. Hospital. This is a healthcare facility where patients receive medical treatment from doctors and nurses. Now, in an emergency, the ambulance will likely take you to the nearest hospital. So, that's that's basically the definition. It's the place for medical care. Pronunciation wise, here you make sure to pronounce the initial H softly. Okay? You do not totally drop it, like it's not a silent letter, but it's just soft. It's not very clear. So hospital, hospital. Okay? And then it's not, it's not heavily aspirated. So hospital. The last part here is tall. So not so you say it like that tall. It's very subtle. So hospital, not pital, but pital, tall. There's a schwa sound there, short and quick vowel sound. Hospital. Okay. Again, hospital. One more time. Hospital. Again, hospital. All right. So that's the last term for this set. We had emergency, doctor, allergy, ambulance, and hospital. The main or the common terms, medical terms. The general medical terms that we should know. Because knowing these terms and how to pronounce them clearly can be incredibly important in a medical emergency because it allows you to communicate effectively and get the help you needed. Now let's try practicing saying them again. Now I'll say each one and please type it in the chat as you pronounce it silently or aloud in your own comfortable spaces. We focus on the stress and specific sounds here. So I'm giving you um I have provided a sample sentence for the words. Just to make it sound more natural, to make it sound more used, utilized. Okay, let's start with emergency. Type it in the chat now. Emergency. In case of an emergency, dial 911 immediately. Now, I forgot to tell you, but please read the sentence with me, not after me. While I'm reading it, you should read it also. All right? Okay, let's go over again. Emergency. In case of an emergency, dial 911 immediately. In case of an emergency, dial 911 immediately. Next, doctor. I need to see a doctor for this headache. I need to see a doctor for this headache. Next, allergy. She has an allergy to peanuts. Again, she has an allergy to peanuts. Next, ambulance. The ambulance arrived just in time to help him. The ambulance arrived. There's no T sound at the end. Okay, I'm sorry for that. Let's go over again. Ambulance. Ambulance. The ambulance arrived just in time to help him. And lastly, hospital. They took me to the hospital after the accident. They took me to the hospital after the accident. All right, let's immediately have the next set of words, starting with prescription. Again, still medical emergencies, section medical emergencies. The next word is or term is prescription. Now, this is that important piece of paper or electronic record from a doctor that authorizes you to get a specific medication from a pharmacy. Okay, so if a doctor recommends a certain medicine, you will likely need a prescription to purchase it. So basically, this is doctor's medicine note. That's prescription, the paper where you can use you know as a ticket to get the proper medicine um for your illness. All right. Okay. Pronunciation tip. The key to pronunciation lies in the consonant cluster here, SKR. They're blending in the second syllable. You need to say each of those sounds clearly but smoothly together. So let's start by really defining how these particular letters sound, each individually as well as together. Okay, starting with the first one, letter S is a hissing sound. S. Second, letter K. K. Lastly, letter R. Okay, If we try to say these sounds consecutively, it will sound like this. Skr, skr. Okay. Let's try to, let's try to combine these consonant sounds more naturally, more smoothly. No? Try to combine them smoothly together. Okay. Skr, sk, 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 sk. Okay, I think that's it. If you want to try to sound naturally, especially if we try to combine specific sounds of the letters, what we can do is to pronounce it much faster. Okay, so it can really go blend with each other. Okay, let's try to read word or the term again. Prescription. Again, prescription. One more time, prescription. Well, to pronounce this clearly, it can help you to, the following letters or sounds of these consonant clusters can also help you to really get to how these particular sounds sound smoothly. Okay? Prescription. Prescription. Again, prescription. Okay. Next, we have painkiller. Painkiller. One more time. Painkiller. So, this is a general term for any medicine that helps to reduce or relieve pain. As the name implies, it kills pain. Painkiller. So, whether it's a headache after a long day of exploring, any kind of places um, you are in. So you use you use painkillers to provide relief, body relief. So medicine for pain basically. Now here the pronunciation tip, it emphasizes saying both parts clearly. First is pain, which should be pronounced with a long A sound. Pain. Pain. Again, pain. Something like that. Pain. Okay? Like when you say the letter A, A, or the word say, pain. So there's basically, if there's a long A sound there, definitely there is a diphthong. This one. Again, as I've already mentioned it a lot of times during our previous sessions, diphthong are vowels, are vowel sounds that are combined together. So one vowel sound smoothly glides to another vowel sounds. That's diphthong. Okay. So this is pain. And then next is killer. Killer. So it should also be clear with a short E sound in the beginning. So here it's followed by sound also, as in feather. Killer. So it's painkiller with a slight pause between the two parts. Again, painkiller. One more time, painkiller. N- okay. Next is dizzy. Again, dizzy. Very easy. Dizzy. There's a buzzing sound there. Now, this is the feeling that everything around you is, spinning and you might feel unsteady. So, this can happen due to dehydration in the tropical climate, for example, where you are vacationing from, or as a symptom of other illnesses, might be hopefully not. Well, pronunciation wise, there's a short E sound at the beginning. Dizzy, D. There's a short E sound there for the first syllable. And there's a soft Z sound for the second syllable, dizzy. Dizzy, I've mentioned about buzzing sound, right? So this sound here, it should sound like the Z in zoo, not a harsh buzzing sound. Dizzy. Again, dizzy. One more time, dizzy. All right. Our fourth term here is fever. Again, fever. Now, this indicates a higher than normal body temperature and is often a sign that your body is fighting off an infection. That's fever. So, if you feel very hot and perhaps sweaty while you are somewhere, you might have a fever. So, high body temperature is its, is its is how you can recognize this one. High body temperature beyond the normal temperature of 37 degrees. Anyway, the key to pronunciation here is that there's a long E sound in the first syllable. Fee, fee. There's a long E sound there, like in see or meet. The second syllable, ver, it sounds like the word ver in very, like fever, fever. Something like that? No, it should be fever. So very, very. Fever. Okay? All right. Let's pronounce it again. Fever. One more time. Fever. Finally, we have a very simple word, hurt. One syllable only. So this is a general word to describe physical pain or injury. You might say, my stomach hurts or I hurt my ankle. Those, something like that. Now, it's just, physical injured. So here, the pronunciation tip refers to the British like her. So this vowel sound is a mid-central vowel, meaning it's similar to the sound in the American English word like bird. But it's sometimes, a bit more drawn out. So it's pronounced as hurt with a specific vowel sound in the middle. Hurt. One more time. Hurt. All right. Let's immediately have, so I will, for a moment. Going back to that. Let's try to read all these terms first before we go into practicing it. Prescription, painkiller, dizzy, fever, hurt. Okay, it's time to practice. Let's same process, same pattern. Let's try to read the sentence with the term together. Okay, starting with prescription. The prescription for the medicine is at the pharmacy. The prescription of the medicine for the medicine is at the pharmacy. Painkiller. I need a painkiller for my backache. I need a painkiller for my backache. Dizzy. I feel a bit dizzy after standing up so quickly. I feel a bit dizzy after standing up so quickly. Fever. His fever is quite high. He should rest. His fever is quite high. He should rest. Ankle. I hurt my ankle while jogging. I hurt my ankle. Oh no, this is not highlighted. This should not be highlighted on the ankle, but it should be highlighted on the word hurt. Okay? This should be highlighted on the word hurt. For a moment, let me try to correct my mistake. Sorry for that. But yes, hurt. I hurt my ankle while jogging. Okay, thank you for your understanding. All right, those are the second set of words. Let's immediately hop on the third set of words. Starting with, still on medical emergencies, starting with bleeding. Again, bleeding. Now, at its core, this term describes the process of blood escaping from the circulatory system. So, it's a physiological event that, when excessive or uncontrolled, it constitutes a medical emergency. So, basically, this is losing blood. Again, losing blood. So, it is bleeding. Bleeding. Now, pronunciation wise, the pronunciation here, it hinges on that elongated E. So, which means basically as simple as long E sound. There's a long E sound at the beginning. Blee. Blee. No, and in the initial syllable, blee, it creates a sustained sound, followed by a softer letter D sound in ding, which is a suffix. So bleeding. bleeding. So you can think of sound of the sound your vocal cords make for a prolonged E, as in C, and then smoothly transition to the ding sound, the suffix sound, ensuring that the D here is not harsh. So bleeding, bleeding. Again, bleeding. One more time, bleeding. Next, we have unconscious. Again, unconscious. This state signifies a significant change in a person's level of awareness. It implies basically a lack of, responsiveness to the person, and, basically just an absence of thinking. So, um, well, as simple as it is, we can define it as being not awake. All right, but not sleeping, alright, okay? You're just not awake. You basically, maybe you fainted or something like that. Something of the same pattern. Well, pronunciation wise, the stress pattern is vital here because the emphasis it falls squarely on the second syllable, con. So unconscious, unconscious. You make it louder and slightly longer than the unstressed un at the beginning and softer shush and at the end. So unconscious, unconscious. The final shush sound here is akin to the sh sound, the consonant cluster sh sound in the word ship, for example. It is followed by a very soft, almost swallowed us sound. Us, shiz. It's almost swallowed because it's very soft and quick. So this word is unconscious. Again, unconscious. Then there's infection. Infection. It's basically harm. It's basically being tainted with harmful bacteria, or yeah, we'll just say bacteria. It's basically just a biological process which is characterized by entering and multiplication of the harmful bacteria. Okay, this can caused by um, any kind of bacteria where the body's response it often involves inflammation and other symptoms if you have noticed for those who are infected, for those for those who have seen a person who got infected in person or in on screens. So pronunciation wise, you stress on the second syllable fek. So it is crucial for correct pronunciation. You say it is infection. Again, infection. Now the initial in is unstressed and there is a short e sound, while the shon ending is consistently pronounced as shun. Again, shon. So it is a sound which is created by pushing the air through the narrow channel formed by the tongue and the roof of the mouth. Shun. Shun. Again, shun. One more time. Shun. Okay? So basically, this is infection. Again, infection. One more time. Infection. Okay. Our fourth term here is vomiting. Again, vomiting. One more time. Vomiting. So this is just basically throwing up. Okay, it's a reflex action which is often triggered by illness, food poisoning, or other medical conditions. So pronunciation wise, the initial syllable here, vom, that's where you emphasize the sound of the word. So you try to do that. Vomiting. Again, vomiting. So that is vomiting. Again, vomiting. So one more on this pronunciation tip is that there is a short E sound at the middle and at the end, vomiting. And then the final ing sound is the standard nasal sound, ing. There's a nasal sound there when you say it. ing. So vomiting, vomiting. Again, vomiting. All right. So the overall rhythm, it emphasizes the first syllable. Finally, let's have the last word, which is swelling. Again, swelling. It is the area that becomes larger, so there's an increase in the size of a body part due to, what are the causes? It might be fluid accumulation, or there's some kind of a tissue that is enlarged. Usually, that's how they say it. That's how they medically say it. So yeah, that's basically it. It's common sign of injury or inflammation or underlying medical issues. Well, the first syllable here, which is swell, that is our stressed syllable. This is the syllable which is pronounced clearly, like the word itself, with a short S sound is in bed. Swelling, swell, swell, bed. So there's a short S sound in here. So swell. The ending is, a soft nasal sound where the G is often softened or almost silent, primarily represented by the N sound carrying the resonance. So ing, swelling. All right. For these set words, we've discussed on bleeding, unconscious, infection, vomiting, swelling. And what do we do next is, of course, it's time to practice. Let's have a practice drill. Same pattern, same process. Say this sentence with me. Okay, starting with bleeding. She's bleeding from a cut on her arm and needs help. She's bleeding from a cut on her arm and needs help. Unconscious. He was knocked unconscious after the fall and had to be revived. He was knocked unconscious after the fall and had to be revived. Infection. There was an infection, so he had to take antibiotics. There was an infection, so he had to take antibiotics. Vomiting. He was vomiting after eating something that didn't agree with him. He was vomiting after eating something that he didn't agree with him. That didn't agree with him. There's no he. Okay. Swelling. There's swelling on his ankle after he twisted it during the game. Oh no. There's swelling on his ankle after he twisted it during the game. Okay. So these are the third set of words. All right. Let's move on to the fourth set of words. Let's have rub. Okay. Before that, we've already on the second section, which is on crime and personal safety. So these are the terms that can be really crucial if you ever find yourself in a difficult situation. Hopefully not, when you're traveling. So knowing what they mean and how to say them clearly can help you get the assistance you needed. First, we have the word rubbed. Rubbed. So if someone has robbed you, it means they have taken something from you. You usually um you usually see it by using force or threats. So that's robbed. That's robbing. They do that. The robbers. It's a serious situation, and being able to say this clearly is very important. So let's focus on how to pronounce it correctly. The first sound is a sharp hissing S sound. Oh, there's no a hissing sound there. I'm sorry for that. The first sound is a sharp R sound, basic letter R sound. Okay, not a hissing sound. So rubbed, rubbed. When we try to say the letter, I'm sorry, excuse me for that. When we try to pronounce the letter R sound, your tongue curls back a little in your mouth. If you've noticed it. Er, er. I cannot really show you my tongue or the inside of my mouth that clearly, but yeah, if you try to imagine it, your tongue rolls back when you say the letter R sound. It curls back a little in, at the back of your mouth. So after that, you have a short O sound here, rubbed, short O. It's not O sound, but like it's O sound, but another type of variety, that type of O sound, which is usually rubbed, rubbed. So the word here, it finishes with a strong D sound, which is made by the tip of your tongue touching the roof of your mouth. D, D. So it's just behind your front teeth. So you have rubbed, rubbed. Now the last sound here is almost like a T sound. Again, is almost like a T sound. Rubbed. Because again, in one of our previous sessions, right? If you remember, we've talked about the differences in pronouncing the suffix ed, right? There's d, there's um there's sounds that there's words that when you try to pronounce ed, it is pronounced as d, like mm, I cannot think of a word right now, but maybe headed. No, it's another pronunciation also, because there's also a pronunciation of ed as in ed. So headed is an example of that. And then there's the third pronunciation version is the letter T sound. And an example of that is rubbed. Okay? Rubbed. All right. Next, we have the word police, a law enforcement, basically. These are the people whose job is to help keep everyone safe and to deal with crime. So, if you need their help for any reason related to safety or illegal activity, you will need to know how to say police. Now, let's focus on the sounds in this word. It starts with a very short and soft pa sound, the first syllable, right? So your lips come together briefly and you release a little puff of air with a soft vowel sound in after. So then it comes the important part, which is second syllable. Lees, your tongue goes high and forward in your mouth. Lees, lees. So it's like when you say, sorry for that, C or T, lees. There's a long e sound here. Your tongue is high and forward in your mouth also. If you try to really see to it how your mouth forms so that you can particularly remember how to say that particular syllable. Okay? You finish it with a little hissing sound, letter S. So remember, you say it as police. So the second syllable is the stressed part here. Police. Next, passport. We're very familiar with this word. So let's try to make it short and quick. Passport is a travel ID. It's a very important document when you travel to other countries. So it's your official ID. Basically, if it gets lost or stolen, you'll need to be able to say passport clearly. So passport. So there's two distinct sounds. The first is pass. The emphasis is on. Again, the emphasis is on first syllable of course. Passport. One more time. Passport. All right. There's a clear T sound at the end. Fourth is embassy. So if you are traveling in another country and you have a serious problem like losing your important documents like passport or needing help from your government, you might need to contact your country's embassy in that particular country you are visiting. So knowing how to say this word is very important. So let's listen to the pronunciation starting with M, the first syllable, which is the stressed part here, or the emphasized. Your lips close and then open for a short S sound here. So M. And then ba, basically ba, very easy, ba. C, there's a long E sound here. So combine those together, embassy. One more time, embassy. So embassy again is a government official abroad. Lastly, we have report. It's very easy. We're very familiar with this. I've already talked about this a lot of times already on the previous sessions. Report. If something bad happened, but if you try to contextualize it to the context of emergency, If something bad happens, like a crime, you might need to make a report to the police or another authority. Basically, an official complaint. That's how we contextualize this word to this emergencies vocabulary. For the pronunciation, you stress on port, report. Again, report. One more time, report. Okay. For this set of words, we discussed on rubbed, police, passport, embassy, and report. All right. Let's have immediately after discussing what do we gonna do, what are we gonna do is, of course, it's time to practice. Let's have a practice drill. Same pattern, same process. Starting with rubbed. I was robbed at the market yesterday and they took my wallet. I was robbed at the market yesterday and they took my wallet. Police. The police are investigating the robbery that happened last night. The police are investigating the robbery that happened last night. Passport. I lost my passport at the airport and need to get a replacement. Sorry. I lost my passport at the airport and need to get a replacement. Embassy. Embassy. If you lose your passport, you should contact your country's embassy for help. If you lose your passport, you should contact your country's embassy for help. Report. You need to report to the theft to the police of you need to report the theft to the police immediately. You need to report the theft to the police immediately. All right. Let's have the next set of words. This is second to the last one. Still on crime and personal safety, let's have assault. Let's look at assault. So this word, it refers to a physical attack on another person. It's basically a serious act of violence and um that's it. It's a physical attack. It's a serious physical attack to that you try to inflict to other person or that other person is trying to inflict to you. So pronunciation wise, when you say this word, the first sound is a very soft, almost hidden sound, like the beginning of about or away. So assault. The main part of the word, which is also the stressed and louder, is the second syllable salt. Think of the word salt as A-L-T. That's how you say it. So salt, assault. Emphasis on the second part, assault. All right. Next, we have harassed. Harassed. So if someone has been harassed, it means they have been repeatedly bothered or threatened in a way that feels unwelcome and upsetting. Oh my God, my voice. So this can take many forms. Harassment can take many forms. All right. Pronunciation wise, when you pronounce this, the first part har, it is stressed and should sound just like the English word. How do you call that? Har, har, Harley. Yeah, something like that. Har. Okay. The second part is rust. It is pronounced like ust. It has short ah sound like the ah in umbrella and followed by a clear consonant cluster st sound. So the pronunciation tip, it reminds us that you stress on the first syllable, of course. Harassed. Again, harassed. Then we have threat. Threat. Now, a threat is a statement that someone intends to cause harm or danger. Basically, danger or warning. It's a warning that something bad might happen. Now, when you say this word, the first sound is the voiceless TH sound, right? When we try to say voiceless TH sound, it's when we try to touch our neck and say or pronounce the sound. There's no vibration at all. So it's just a puff of air. Threat. The IPA transcription of this equivalence is this one. That's the TH sound. So this is threat. So that's how you say it. Well, if you want to really know how to properly say the TH sound, you might want to put your tongue lightly between your upper and lower teeth and, just gently blow the air out. That's the voiceless sound of that. Do it like this. tongue lightly between your upper and lower teeth, and then blow an air out. So if we try to blow an air out before doing, the tongue in between the upper and lower teeth, it would look like this. But if we try to put our tongue in between the teeth and still, you know, blow the air out, it will look like this. So that's the soft, voiceless TH sound, basically, right? Very easy. Now, that is threat. Again, threat. Next is suspicious. One more time. Suspicious. Again, suspicious. If something seems suspicious, it means it looks odd or unsafe. You make you make yourself think that something might be wrong or dangerous. That is suspicious. Seems unsafe or odd. Pronunciation wise, you emphasize on the second syllable P. So suspicious. Again, suspicious. One more time. Suspicious. Okay. Lastly, we have missing. Again, missing. So if something or someone is missing, it means they are lost and cannot be found. So this can be very, this can be very worrying situation. So missing, it's lost, it's not found. Missing. All right, um, pronunciation wise here, you notice the double S in the spelling, right? So you pronounced that particular sound as a clear S, especially if there's a double S in the spelling. That's more of an indication that you should clearly say the letter S sound. Okay, so there's a short E sound before and after that. Me and sing. Missing. Okay, missing. The stressed part is in the first syllable miss. So missing. Missing. Okay, missing. The emphasis is on the first part. For this set, we've talked about assault, harassed, threat, suspicious, and missing. Okay. After this, what are we gonna do? Of course, it's time to practice. Let's have a practice drill. All right, let's start with assault. Again, assault. He was a victim of assault near the train station last night. He was a victim of assault near the train station last night. Next, harassed. Harassed. She felt harassed by a man who kept following her around the hotel. She felt harassed by a man who kept following her around the hotel. Threat. The tourist reported a threat made by someone demanding money. The tourist reported a threat made by someone demanding money. Next, suspicious. If you see any suspicious activity, tell the authorities immediately. If you see any suspicious activity, tell the authorities immediately. Missing. His phone is missing after the crowded festival. He may have been pickpocketed. His phone is missing after the crowded festival. He may have been pickpocketed. And that is the fifth set of words or terms for emergencies that we can use for emergencies. Let's have the last and final set of terms for this topic. So another section, which is on understanding and communicating. This is only the set of words for this section. Let's immediately start with understand. Okay, understand. So understand. Let's consider understand in an emergency. Imagine there's an unexpected event and local authorities or emergency responders are giving instructions, perhaps about an evacuation route due to a weather disturbance common in that particular place, or it could be safety protocols in a crowded area. It is absolutely critical that you understand these instructions precisely. Don't just nod. You should mentally process the information. Because if anything isn't clear, you must ask for clarification. Okay? because it is important that you comprehend, that you understand what are the safety protocols so that it can really, provide safety to you when something might happen. Hopefully not. All right? Okay, let's break down the pronunciation syllable by syllable. The first part is an. It's a short, unstressed sound like the ah in umbrella, followed by a letter N sound where the tip of your tongue touches the roof of your mouth. That's a nasal sound. Mm. The second part is der. Again, short and unstressed like the da in duck, with your tongue relaxed in the middle of your mouth. So the final unstressed part is stand. You start with a clear consonant cluster ST sound, like the beginning of stop, with your tongue behind your teeth. Okay? Then comes here, combining the three distinct sounds, we will get understanding. No, understand only. I'm sorry. Understand. Remember, the emphasis is on stand. Understand. Okay. Next, we have repeat. Again, repeat. Okay. So, repeat basically is just you have to say it again, because if you try to picture this scenario, during an emergency, there might be a lot of background noise, sirens, announcements over loudspeakers, people talking, all those noises. So, if someone, especially an official, is giving you the crucial directions, maybe about where to find shelter during a typhoon, for example, or what to do if there's an earthquake, and you don't catch all the details, you need to ask them to repeat the information. Don't be afraid to say, "Could you please repeat that? I didn't hear clearly," something like that. So you should do that. You try to ask for the other person to repeat what you are saying, because it's very important. Okay? Here, pronunciation wise, you emphasize that long E sound in the second syllable, which is the same syllable that is stressed here. Repeat. Okay? Repeat. The first syllable is re, which is short and unstressed. There's a short E sound. Here, you start with your tongue curled back a little for the letter R sound here. So, and then there's a long re. Repeat. Repeat. Good? Sorry. Repeat. There's a short E sound in the first syllable. Again, repeat. One more time, repeat. Okay, there's slowly. Now, in an emergency, adrenaline can make people speak very quickly, right? So that's usually the case, even if they are trying to communicate in English. If a local first responder is giving you vital instructions about how to administer first aid or where to find emergency supplies, for example, and they are speaking too fast for you to follow, of course, what you need to do is you have the every right to ask them to speak slowly. You have every right. Okay? You say, um, you say, "Please speak more slowly. I need to understand everything." Something like that. Okay? That long O sound in slowly, it will help them adjust their pace so you can grasp the critical details accurately. So this is two syllables. The first and stressed is slow, and then slowly. Again, li. All right. Our fourth term here is translator. It can be, you know, it's just, a long, not just, but it is a language helper. Okay? It can be an absolute lifeline in a serious situation where language is a significant barrier. Because imagine needing to explain a specific medical condition, and you have to local you have to ask local paramedics, or understanding urgent warnings being broadcast in um not broadcasted, but like, you know the public might see in the hospital. So that's it. A translator is a person who can interpret or give a reliable translation on your phone. Okay? Translator. The emphasis on this part is on the second syllable, lay, which has a diphthong A sound. Okay? Translator. Again, translator. Finally, we have the single and most powerful of all, help. Again, help. In any emergencies, if you are injured, in danger, witness someone in distress, or need immediate assistance for any reason, a clear, loud help, a cry of help, is a universal signal that you need urgent aid. So it's how you ask for assistance. It's here you should project your voice and ensure that final P sound in help is clearly distinct. It's clearly enunciated. Okay? There's a clear P at the end. So help. Help. This word can cut through confusion and alert people to your critical need for assistance. Don't hesitate to use if you're in trouble, of course. Because you're in trouble, especially if it's your body, you should not hesitate when asking for help and medical help to other person or other people. Okay? Help. One more time. Help. All right. And this is the last set of words for this part. For the whole emergencies while traveling vocabulary, they are understand, repeat, slowly, translator, and help. All right, let's go over to our last practice drill. Same pattern, same process. Okay, understand. I don't understand what you're saying. Can you speak more slowly? Repeat. Could you please repeat that? I didn't catch it the first time. Slowly. Please speak slowly so I can follow what you're saying. Translator. We need a translator to help explain the situation at the hospital. And lastly, help. I need help. My friend is feeling very sick. All right. So these, I'm sorry for that. I think, okay. These are the vocabulary that we've talked for today. These are emergencies while traveling vocabulary. Let's read all this as fast as we can. All right. Emergency, doctor, allergy, ambulance, hospital, prescription, painkiller, dizzy, fever, hurt, bleeding, unconscious, infection, vomiting, swelling, rubbed, police, passport, embassy, report, assault, harassed, threat, suspicious, missing, understand, repeat, slowly, translator, and help. All right. Those are the vocabulary for emergencies while traveling. All right, we've come to the close of our time together for today's session, everyone. So, our time together learning some helpful English for when you travel. We've covered quite a few important topics, right? From what you might hear and say when you first arrive at the airport to how to check in. I'm sorry for that. How to check in at your hotel and get settled. We also looked at how to use different kinds of transportation like buses and trains and how to order food and drinks when you're out and about. Most importantly, we spend time learning what to say if something unexpected happens and you need help. So, so this ends our English for Travel series. All right, the time goes by so fast. Well, learning a new language, it takes time and practice, so don't worry if you don't remember everything right away. The best thing you can do is try to use these words and phrases whenever you have a chance. As much as possible, you use those terms. You can even say the terms or the words out loud to yourself to get used to how they sound. Every little bit of practice, it really helps everyone. My hope is that this lesson has given you some useful tools and made you feel a bit more confident about using English when you're traveling. Being able to communicate, even in a simple way, can really make your trips much easier and more enjoyable. So, if there's anything we talked about today that you are still kind of like unsure about, or if you have any other questions, no, basically, please don't hesitate to ask me. I'm here to help you learn. All right? I'm here to alleviate your problems, your English problems. Okay, any questions? I think none. All right, I think none. So, I wish you all safe and happy travels, everyone. May your trips be filled with good experiences and friendly people to talk to. Enjoy exploring the world. Have a great night ahead and goodbye.